Sevgili izleyiciler, Ekotürk ekranlarından herkese merhabalar. Burada BILD gazetesindeyiz, Almanya'da, Münih'teyiz. Euro 24 devam ederken yarı finaller zamanına yaklaştık ve bugün hatta bir yarı final karşılaşmamız var. İspanya ile Fransa karşılaşması öncesi BILD gazetesi editörü Tobi ile bir araya geldik. Kendisi bizi kırmadı bu keyifli röportajı almak için. Çok teşekkür ederiz Tobi. Sizlere güzel bir röportaj yaşatacağız umuyoruz ki. We are with Tobi Altschäffl today. Am I pronounced
almost right? Better than most of the persons trying it for the first time.
Thank you to accepting us in here today in Munich. It's kind of a hot day and with no air condition, which is in Germany.
Germans are not that much into air conditions, so I'm really sorry for that.
That's fine. How do you describe nowadays? It's like, Euro 24 is such a busy day also for Germans, and we are in Germany, still continue. We will have a semi-final today. Can you explain how is your days going with the Euro 24?
I mean, we're a little bit sad because it ended last Friday in Stuttgart for the German national team, but still excited because the Euro is in Germany and you can feel like the tension in Munich, all the fans coming. I saw a lot of French fans and Spanish fans, of course, and we are looking forward to a great match. And it's not only the match for us as journalists, it's like meeting persons that are normally not in the city. So the day is like one meeting to another, and it's also a possibility for journalists to get in touch with persons you normally don't meet. I mean, look at the two of us. I think we would have not met if there would have not been the Euro and the match today. So it's not only seeing those matches, but also meeting persons and having new contacts and connections.
It's amazing. Like, it's an honor for me to making an interview with a journalist. But I look for your works. It's like almost amazing. So do you have any memories in football and like, interviews based in Istanbul, Turkey before?
The first thing that comes into my mind is really, I told you that I met Loris Karius when he had this drama in the Champions League final. I guess it was 2018 when Liverpool faced Real Madrid and he made those mistakes, and it was like a drama for him. And afterwards all the media, everybody was like, who's gonna get the first interview with Karius after that shocking moment for him? And I had the first interview because he moved then. Liverpool did not really want him afterwards anymore and he moved to Istanbul, and I was visiting him and he was talking very open about what he felt and what he experienced during, I mean, it was some weeks later after the final, and of course a lot of things happened. A lot of criticism, a lot of media discussion, and so I met him and it was really a good interview I remember, because it's not like an everyday thing to talk to a player after a match or whatever, but to have like an emotional interview with him.
So, Galatasaray is like a second championship again, like this year and last season also. What do you think about Turkish Super League from your eyes, if you can compare the Bundesliga? Is there any similarities or stuff?
I think the fans are even more enthusiastic and even more into it. I mean, when I was at Galatasaray match when they faced Bayern Munich last season, the atmosphere was so loud, maybe the loudest atmosphere I've ever experienced. And I think in Turkey, as far as I know, it's more like if the team is winning, they are pushing them to heaven. But if it's a crisis, it's a little bit more, it's right? Tougher than it is for German teams or German players. So very emotional, and you got very good players. I mean, look at Sacha Boey, who moved from Galatasaray to Bayern, and they paid a lot of money for him. So you got good players, you got a good crowd, so it's a very interesting league with enthusiasm, I would say.
Do you know some of the transfer stories? Like, it's sometimes getting, like a secretly, and then it's also like really most Google think about the transfers is behind the transfers, like how is the process going? So is there any transfers like from Turkey to Bayern, or like, as you mentioned, Sacha Boey, like the background session that you have any experience for that?
We have always hopefully the background experience in those cases. I mean, Sacha Boey, it was like a long time because they were fighting for the fee, and I think Galatasaray received a big fee because I heard that he was a topic in Frankfurt half a year earlier and they would have paid maximum 10 million, so there was quite a big gap. And also with Turkish players now during the Euro, because you heard about the story of Hakan Çalhanoğlu and the Bayern Munich rumor, and which ended in an Instagram post from Hakan saying, I will stay at Inter Milano for sure. That seemed a little bit, I don't know if this was his first idea to make it, or Inter maybe convinced him to make it. So it's always interesting what's happening in the background of those.
If you're Inter, you want to keep Hakan Çalhanoğlu? If I'm Inter, I would love to keep him. What do you think about Turkish players at Euro, if we come back to the Euro topic? So Euro 24 is such Turkey against Holland. Did you see the match?
Yeah, of course.
What do you think about the match of Turkish game?
I mean, it was a pity for Turkey, because after they were leading, I thought they can make it, especially because Netherlands are not that convincing as a team, so there was a big chance for them. And when I look at the Turkish team, I look especially at Kenan Yildiz, because I know him for a long time. I'm living partly in Regensburg, so that's the city where he was born, and there was this, it wasn't really a fight, because Germany never really tried to get him to German national team, and so now he's playing for the Turkish team, although he's not really speaking Turkish fluently as far as I know, so his German is better than his Turkish, but it's interesting to have a player I was following him for years when he was 16 years and playing for Bayern Munich in the youth, and now he's a Turkish national player, and I'm happy for him that he made it at least to the quarterfinals of that big tournament, being in the starting lineup.
Yeah, and that young age
Yes.
is also I heard some research that Turkey and Spain is two national teams that have the most young player that it's in first 11 tier, like Arda Güler and Kenan Yildiz, 3 times they made it in Euros. So how's German national team this year? I know it's kind of against Spain. So how was your first thoughts that from the beginning and then the end of the tournament for German side?
Well, you have to say that the beginning for Germany was not beginning of the tournament, but March, when they had those 2 friendly matches against France and Netherlands, and they succeeded, and this was a little bit the turning point. And so the atmosphere was good before the tournament, and of course we had this starting match in Munich against Scotland, 5-1, so very good atmosphere created. And then I think they made a switch in the German public, because it was not cool to be a fan of the German national team for the last years, because they did not go that World Cup 2018, Euro 21, World Cup 22. And so even though they made it not to the semifinals, convinced the people, the crowd, that can be proud or they can be fans of the German national team again. And it's okay. It's cool to be a German fan again, and it was not for a long time.
It's also a great thing that if you want to mention your most favorite national team German player, or is there any surprise for this year in the team as a performance base and stuff while you were watching the German national team?
I think it's no surprise that Jamal Musiala is the rising star, and he's who received the Ballon d'Or, so the best player of the world, and he said if there is one who can make it after me, it's Jamal Musiala, and that's pretty sure for me. So we got those 2 young guns, Florian Wirtz and Jamal Musiala, but I think Musiala is already on a different level, and he can be the big star in Germany for the future. And he showed at this Euro, because when you look at his performances at the World Cup in Qatar, he was good, but he did not score goals, and now he scored 3 goals and was really the best player of Germany, so he's our future.
So here is the thing, that is there any player, young player as Arda Güler from Real Madrid, he's playing at Real Madrid. What do you think about his performance in national team, Turkish national team?
I mean, if Jamal Musiala is our rising star, then Arda Güler is your rising star, that's for sure. And he seems to be very self-confident. I mean, I don't know him personally, but when I look at him on the pitch, this Jude Bellingham attitude, he wants every ball, and if something in the game is not happening the way he wants, then he's angry with even with his teammates. And I saw one counter-attack of Turkey against Netherlands where he wanted to get the pass and he did not get it, and he was like, why don't you play the ball? So
I know. I was just always I got so emotional when I'm talking Arda Güler, because he's just such a young talent and such a gentleman, and he's such a that I can tell. He just wants to do his best and always so respectful to the fans and everyone. It's just like a little brother to me. So that's why I was get emotional. And do you think he will keep going with Real Madrid, or do you have any idea about Arda Güler's future?
I think the last weeks of the season at Real were okay, were good for him. I mean, he's young and he has got to be patient, but if he knows that he's getting some time on the pitch, because it helps no player to sit only on the bench. If he's getting the time, he should stay there. If he sees after the next season he's not close to the starting 11, maybe alone or whatever, could be good for him, but as I said, the end of the last season was good, and so he has the chance to play for Real Madrid, and that's the best for every player.
I think so. So what do you think about semi-finals, Toby, that we're in, and who do you think will be the champion of this Euro 24?
I think for tonight, Spain is gonna make it. I just hope it, because when you look at the 4 teams being in the semi-final, only 1 team is playing football and 3 other teams are defending and hoping that something will happen, and this team is Spain. So I hope they will make it against France. And then I would love to have England in the final, because I like England very much, but I think maybe Netherlands are gonna make it, because they are both not playing really good, but Netherlands maybe a little bit better than England. But England has the better players.
Yeah,
that's no question. But what they play,
but what they play is important.
So maybe the final is going to be Spain against Netherlands, like World Cup final 2010, and then I think Spain is going to make it. But we're going to see in some days if I was completely wrong.
Oh,
so
yeah, I'm
going
to call you. Yeah. Hey, I just had a question from Twitter, and I think Spain will make it tonight against France, and I think the finalists will be England and Spain.
Would be very interesting. And,
but Spain make it happen anyways, I guess. I think so, I don't know, but because of the play that you said, the football. What do you think Spain's most valuable player at this tournament?
Rodri, no question about that, yeah. I mean, we can talk about Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams, because they're rising stars as well, and he knows to connect between defense and offense, and I have not seen very often players like him. And I mean, they won against Germany, but it's except that match, it's a pleasure to watch him play. I mean, he even scored a goal, important goal against Georgia, but he's, even without scoring goals, he's a genius, mastermind of the game.
What about in England? Why England has best players and why we are not playing weirdly? Like everyone criticizes about England. So what was the reason that this tournament?
Easiest answer would be the coach, because the coach is responsible for what is happening, and they got the best players. They got the players with the highest value. But as I said, I love England. I love the English fans, but it's hard to watch them play. I mean, it's hard to watch them anyway, but it's even harder if you know what players they have and what they are playing. So
speaking about coach, what do you think about the last game? He got criticized a lot from Holland between Turkish national team about Montella.
I mean, he made it so far, and I don't know if it's about his substitutes or whatever, but maybe it's hard for you, but I think quarterfinals is a big achievement. So of course you dream of the semifinal and the final, but Montella, to bring the team to this point, I think that's an achievement. A good achievement.
They criticize about the last minute changes, like he was waited till 85 the second, so he can maybe quick changes before the game was just, fall away.
He did not really find a key or an answer to defend against Wout Weghorst, because you know that Weghorst is not the player in the starting lineup, but when he comes in, he's a troublemaker, and he caused a lot of trouble in the Turkish defense, I guess.
So if Germany and Turkey has a game, then what do you think, what will the stars as a defensive and the stars of the game from German national team and Turkish, which one is the best players you can tell if both team has a game?
So the best players of each team, or I mean, we mentioned them before. I mean, it's like Arda Güler against Jamal Musiala, and
you want to watch them, right, together?
Yes. But your goalkeeper, he had the save of the tournament, that's for sure for me, last minute against Austria. So don't be sad, because you created some everlasting moments at the tournament, that's for sure, I guess.
Austria and Turkey game, have you ever watched that game too?
Yes.
How was the game, you think?
Austria were a little bit the favorite, I think, before the match, because they were higher ranked, and then everything went well for Turkey. I mean, the goal in the first minute and then the save in the last minute, so this was a perfect match for Turkey. Maybe if they play this match 10 times, 8 times Austria is going to win, but this was the match for Turkey.
And okay, also Toby, what about the France national team then?
It's like they try to defend and hope that Mbappé is going to do something magical, but it's not easy to watch them.
And it's also a shocking thing that Portuguese was just like, dismissed, and even Ronaldo couldn't made it happen. Like, what do you think the reason that they're not continuing as they did before?
It was maybe the last tournament, the last chance, and if you look at players like Pepe or Ronaldo, of course they have some moments they can decide matches, but maybe it's time for the younger generation to let them in. Playing at the age of 41, not being a goaltender, I don't know if this is the right way, but now it's time maybe for the next generation. But with Ronaldo, you never know. Maybe he's gonna play next World Cup.
So do you have any interesting interview in the Euros, or you're doing an interview while the Euro 24 is, continues?
We had a lot of interviews with the German team. I was meeting in the preparations Undaf from Stuttgart, a very good newcomer. And then he would have been allowed to play for Turkey, right? Dennis Undaf. And then I was having an interview with Jamal Musiala, Leroy Sané, both were very good. And I was writing a letter with İlkay Gündoğan, because he's our captain, as you know, and when the tournament started on that 14th of June in Munich with the match, I was writing a letter in his name to the German public. So he was addressing to the fans and to everyone that they support Germany, because as you know, there were no easy times, and that the tournament can have the power to connect the people, because as you know, the society is drifting in different directions, and he was hoping that the tournament can connect them. And we will not win the title, we did not win it, but the tournament had the power to put something together and bring people together. So this was an achievement for Germany. Yeah.
Football unites,
really.
What do you think about İlkay Gündoğan, the performance and everything?
He was criticized in the past years, but he was really a true captain, because he is not a loud leader being aggressive, but he has an eye on everything, and he's connecting in the team, and his performance was okay. It was not outstanding, but it was not bad. So he was playing on a good level, and he was a good captain for Germany.
And it's also there's some arguments and criticizing moments about İlkay Gündoğan, because in German press and in Turkey, it was just he was a Turkish guy and he is not to play in the Turkish national team, then play German. So what's the measurements from your eyes? What do you think about this?
I think nowadays it's the perfect sign to have a player with Turkish background and Turkish family as a captain of Germany. I mean, why do you always have a player named Müller or Meyer or whatever for German national team as a captain? I think it's a brilliant sign that you have İlkay Gündoğan as the captain, and Antonio Rüdiger as defender, and Jamal Musiala as number 10. So that's football today, and it's the best sign to have a captain like Gündoğan.
Have you ever follow up a Super League, Turkish Super League, and Jose Mourinho just been to Fenerbahçe? What do you think about it?
It's a funny question, because I forgot to mention that I met him and interviewed him as well during the tournament. So this was really nice. It was a nice meeting, and he was talking about why he's gonna go to Turkey, and talking about his. This was interesting. His biggest title was the Conference League with AS Roma. He told me, because the city of Rome was waiting for a title for such a long time, and even he won all the big titles. He said Conference League with Roma was very important for him, and he has an aura, so to say. And when he's talking, everybody's silent, and he is. It was a really good meeting with him.
It's like a boss man, right?
Yeah, he's a natural born leader, so to say, and whatever he says, people are listening. And he was telling that he was close to be a Dortmund trainer, coach after Klopp left the club, and he was revealing a lot of things I did not know. So very interesting to meet Mourinho.
Do you think Fenerbahçe will succeed with Jose Mourinho this year? Because it's been a 10 year that they couldn't win the championship and stuff. So what do you think?
If not with Mourinho, then with nobody, I guess. So he's a good coach, and I think the fans go crazy. They go crazy easily, maybe, but with Mourinho even more. and of course he can bring the success back.
I was at the conference with, the president and everyone. So I was asking him, what do you think about the young players? It's like Arda Güler from Fenerbahçe, and are you going to have a chance to the young players? And he said that, yeah. And, I was like such a little Arda Güler question to him. And yeah, it's interesting too. So what do you think about Okan Buruk in Galatasaray as a coach?
I can't tell you too much about him. I was following like Mourinho more than that. I saw the way Galatasaray was playing last season, and as I told you, the fans that are really great. So I think the problem is that every club in Istanbul has the pressure to be champion at the end, and so there are always some fans who will be sad and angry at the end. So that's maybe the problem in Istanbul.
So just as my last question, it's just gonna be like going the big interview. Acun Ilıcalı is also like, Hull City owner. We had an interview with him too, the Hull City, and he also bought a channel from Sports One in Munich, like so close to here. He is also just become president, in a board member of Fenerbahçe too. So I just ask a question to you that if you compare Premier League or Champions League and Bundesliga, what was the, differences between Premier League and Bundesliga?
I think the Premier League is just the biggest league in the world at the moment, and their numbers are increasing and they're getting so much money, and even the small teams can afford players. Dortmund and Leverkusen in Germany are dreaming about. The only team that can compete is maybe Bayern Munich, but even for them it's hard to get the players they really want if an English team is trying to get them. So I don't know if it's a fair competition. I think for Bayern Munich it's hard to reach semi-final in Champions League. And if you look at the last year, the only reason that no Premier League club was at the end in the tournament is because they have so many matches. Because when you look at the players, the best players of the world go to the Premier League. And even if you talk to some highly paid and good Bundesliga players, they have the aim to go to Premier League. So as long as a player is not playing for Bayern Munich, I think Bayern Munich can be the end, so the maximum level. But for every other club in Germany, it's Premier League is more attractive than Bundesliga. And
Bayer Leverkusen just made it happen for the first time with Xabi Alonso. What was the reason not Bayern Munich this time couldn't happen?
Because Leverkusen played an outstanding season without a defeat, and Bayern did not play on the top level. So if both things come together, they can have we can have another champion at Bundesliga. But I don't think that there will be soon a team not losing the whole season, and I don't think that Bayern will play a season like the last one soon again, because they got pressure now. They have to win the title again.
Do you think is there any Turkish player will come to Bayern Munich and play well?
There was the chance for Çalhanoğlu for some days or weeks, but as he is not coming at the moment, I think they were looking at Arda Güler before he moved, so they got those players in their mind. But now on the transfer market, I think there's no Turkish player on the top of the list at the moment.
I see. I think I really want to see a Turkish player in Bayern Munich. It could be great to watch.
You can come even more often to Munich.
Yeah. Or maybe I by myself as I apply for next year. Okay, thank you so much, Tobi. It's just like a great interview. I hope I wanna see you in Turkey as well. Is there any plan to come to Istanbul any sooner?
Hopefully Bayern is facing a team from Istanbul, and we are going to go there soon again, because I like it very much to go there.
Okay, Tobi, thank you so much again. Thanks for the coffee. And we will meet again. So in Istanbul, I guess, with Jose Mourinho, who knows?
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Sevgili izleyiciler, Ekotürk ekranlarından BILD gazetesi Spor Editörüyle çok keyifli bir röportaj yaptık. Kendisi bize hem turnuvayla ilgili hem Bayern Münih'le ilgili, transferlerle ilgili pek çok bilgi paylaştı. Bir sonraki röportajımıza görüşmek üzere. Almanya'dayız, Münih'teyiz ve kendisinden bildirdik. Umuyorum sizler de keyif aldınız. Tobi ile birlikteydik. Tobi'nin röportajı sonrası sizlerden de yorumları bekliyoruz. Hoşçakalın.